What if you could speak to the dead? What if the dead wanted to tell their story? What if you could help them tell their story? Stay tuned to hear more about one of the best Estes sessions Destination Mystery has had. Mystery Media Group presents Destination Mystery Case File 16.
You are listening to Mystery Media Group.
Yay! Okay, guys, we're recording.
La 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 la.
All right. Hello.
Can't read your writing.
No, my typing. I can't read my typing. Hello, I'm Melissa with Ghost Girl Memoirs.
And I'm Mike with the Paranormal Treasure Hunter, and you are listening to Destination Mystery. We believe the paranormal is all around us, and every destination is an adventure. We never know what we're going to find in our adventure, but we do know that we'll have an interesting story to tell when we return. We're not going to the same locations or telling the same stories that you've heard over and over. Most of our destinations will be in locations you've never thought to look or investigate or explore. We are here to bring exciting and spooky new content, and we hope you will join us in our journey toward discovering the truth.
So tonight we have joining us some of the investigators that come with us quite often, our favorite people. We've got Jill. You want to say hi?
Hello.
We've got Cosette.
Hello.
And we have Tice.
Hello.
So today's case file takes place in an abandoned house where we didn't know the history or if we'd even find any paranormal activity. But of course, we always like to try new things. So we went on an investigation. We did get permission before we went into this house, and we kind of went in blind. We knew absolutely nothing about the house. We didn't know anything about it. So it's always interesting to see what you can find when you don't know the history. So we went in and kind of explored around. We did some temperature reads and some EMF reads. We found a picture. You want to talk about that, Cosette?
Of a daughter.
Oh.
Well, there was pictures. There was film all over the house, like undeveloped film. And then when we went out to the garage, there was was it a Polaroid?
I think so.
And the Polaroid was a picture of a painting of a mom holding a little girl. So we assumed it's the mom of whoever, and that maybe the husband liked to photograph or do art, because we also found the dark room upstairs, which looked like it could have been used for developing film. It was a black room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
We found all those magazines, too.
Yeah, there's tons of magazines that were art magazines. And wasn't there paint and stuff in that room, too?
I think there might have been brushes. I can't remember.
I think there was some paintbrushes and the magazines right next to the dark room that was upstairs.
We found some mental health flyers. Do you remember those, Jill?
Yeah, we found those mental health flyers. And I was going to mention there were checks, old checks that had gone through the bank, just tons of those stacked all over the place. And the mental health flyers, and it looked like some vacation brochures.
Remember when after we were checking the mail above the countertop, we opened up the dishwasher and there was still fresh dishes in the dishwasher that had been left there.
The dishwasher was spotless.
Yeah, it looked clean.
Yeah.
Compared to the dusty house.
Mike, do you want to talk about the wires and alarms and stuff?
Yeah, it's interesting you saw the mental health pamphlets. I didn't see those. I went in at a different time than you guys did, but the first thing I noticed was there were wires running all over the house. Every window, every door had a alarm on it, and it was an old style that had to have a wire running to it, and the wire was running on the outside of, like, on the ceiling and on the walls, and it looked like the back door was heavily barricaded. The garage was heavily barricaded. Everything had an alarm on it, and it looked like a little paranoia was going on in that house. And then we saw the checks, and then you talked about the mental health brochures. It makes me wonder if they had some money in there or if they were just losing their mind. But I go through a lot of buildings for my job, and that place, there's two types of vandalism, I guess. A lot of houses, people just go in and destroy it. But that house looked like somebody was looking for something. The way they pulled out things and were looking under things, it really looked like somebody was looking for something. That's what first struck me, was it was ransacked, not just vandalized. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the people had turned every inch over.
Yeah. And
safe.
You and Tice found a safe, right?
we found a homemade safe out in the garage that, boy, it took us a while to recognize even what it was by the way they built it. But there's no way you could break into that thing. I mean, without a cutting torch or a piece of dynamite.
Wasn't it cemented?
It was cemented in, yeah.
Cemented.
And in the garage, we found that floor where it looked like it'd been dug up at one time, and then they covered it over with some boards and stuff. It was really hard to get into.
Yeah.
Made me wonder what was down in there, or who.
Well, and also the door to the garage was locked and boarded up from the inside. It had like a lock that went clear across the door.
It was heavily barricaded, yeah.
Something.
Even more than our mom does, so that's bad.
Yeah. Tice, didn't you think that the garage had a lot of tools for someone who might have been a mechanic?
Yeah, it had a lot of tools, and it had a lot of like old oil cans and stuff sitting around that a normal person wouldn't just be carrying around. Bunch of different like oils and fluids. Maybe
he had a really expensive car in there at one time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could have been worth some money in there.
Well, and if I remember right, the checks had a lot of, they're depositing lots of money into their account, like $12,000.
I think there was a bank statement somewhere.
There was.
Yeah, they had a lot of money for how old this house was.
And for the time period of the checks, that was a lot of money in that time period.
What was it like the 60s?
Late 60s, early 70s, I believe.
I think so. I think the check I was looking at was like 68, and they had deposited like $12,000 in their account.
Just on one deposit, yeah.
Yeah, just on one deposit.
But the house was not a house of a wealthy person.
No,
it was a normal house.
Tice, do you want to talk about what you found upstairs in the bedroom?
It looked like a little girl's room, kind of. Not like too big, but not too small. And there was a hole in the wall, and I was just kind of curious to see what was there. And I got closer, and there was a handkerchief kind of blocking this hole. So I pulled the handkerchief out, and there was a postcard from a grandma, I think. Maybe the mom, I'm not quite sure. And then there was a little stuffed teddy bear and some old flowers in there. Looked like someone was trying to hide them from someone, or just a little personal keepsake hole.
And the girl's name was written on the postcard, which was helpful because we used that to do a session. Jill, do you remember what was on the front of that postcard?
It was a picture of the Wyoming Capitol. She had gone on a trip there, and I think it was dated like 68 or early 70s, something like that.
So this kind of secret hiding place in the wall seemed to be a place where, it seemed to be a place where, a hiding place where she kept important things that were important to her, or good memories.
I feel like a lot of girls had a spot to put something, all their stuff, like a little cubby or.
I kind of wish we would have found a diary in there so that we could know a little bit more about
was
her.
One at one point.
Probably.
Maybe a murder weapon.
Well, I thought it was strange because people had gone through that whole house.
Yeah, and why did they leave?
But why did they put that exactly how they had found it?
Maybe they didn't notice it.
That's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do.
Well, they probably didn't notice it because they ransacked everything. They're like, they didn't have any respect for anything. So I think that,
Missed it.
yeah, they didn't discover that part.
That was the first thing I noticed. I said, "There's a handkerchief in that hole."
I don't know that I would have noticed it because I can't see, but I'm glad you noticed it, Tice, because that was kind of cool.
I was
That
trying
was cool.
Decided to try the Estes session, and we've used it a couple of times before, or
I've never done it.
Cosette decided to try listening for the first time. Do you want to tell us about that, Cosette?
Yeah, well, I don't remember much. I remember putting the headphones on, and then you guys were in that room. We found all the stuff in the cubby, and then I went and sat on the side of the stairs across the hall with the earmuffs on. And at first, I didn't hear anything. I thought maybe I wasn't listening, but as soon as I heard the same voice twice, I said that's got to be something. So I would repeat answers back to you guys, but I don't even remember what I was answering.
I thought it was really amazing how you guys could hear, like when Cosette did it, she picked up things and it was like we were having a conversation. And same with you, Melissa, when you left the room and like we would ask something and you would shout out the answer. Immediately. It was like, that was just so real to me.
Yeah, it gave me chills when Cosette started answering the questions that we were asking.
It took me a while to understand what I was listening for, but once I heard it, I was like...
And I like this method because it doesn't, the person that's listening is not affected by what's being asked.
I have no idea what they're
because they can't hear the people asking. So it's pretty cool. Can you hear
so authentic? I remember something from that conversation. I don't remember what we said, but Melissa, was it you or Cosette? And you were like, silly girls. And I was like, well, there's one guy here. And then you said, and that like freaked me out. I was like, oh my gosh, they're right.
I remember saying silly girls. Hitting the number 3.
That it just seemed that was so real to me, and like he was right there talking to us.
We're going to play a clip from Cosette's Estes session right now.
Can you talk to Cosette so she can hear you? We would just like to know a little bit more about the history of this house. Are you still here?
Yes.
Are you a mother with kids?
Yes. Hello?
If you had fun with your kids.
We're here. Hello.
Silly?
Were your kids silly?
Or sick?
Were you sick? Who was silly?
Girls?
Do you think we're silly, us girls?
Yep.
I'll agree with that. We are silly.
What did she say? She said you were. Boy.
Yes.
Yes. You are silly.
We are silly. We'll agree with that.
Is the boy silly too?
What about the boy? Is he silly?
Yep.
Little grandma. She's funny.
Yeah, Tice, you asked him that if he was a good dad, and he was the best.
So I remember every time I'd ask.
It seemed like the dad spoke the most. I don't remember what she said very much.
After we did the Estes session in the one room, we decided to try it in another room. I did the listening the second time, and I was out in the middle of the hall while they were in that other room. But I remember I got a couple of answers from a woman, but I think it was mostly from the dad. It was the same voice. I'm assuming it was the dad. It seemed, when I went back and listened to it when we were done, it seemed like he was really answering the questions that Tice was asking.
Yeah. Like I feel like every time I'd ask, he'd answer, and then someone else would ask, and it'd take like a good minute or two for him to actually answer. I felt like he was answering my questions pretty quick.
Now we'll play a clip from Melissa's Estes session.
You a good father?
The best.
That's good.
Children.
Did you have, how many children did you have?
Girl.
A daughter. What was?
Yeah, daughter.
Is she still alive?
Were you guys happy together?
For sure.
They're nice. Why are you still here?
The house?
Did you like this house?
Did you just touch that? No, it just moved on its own. Because I just heard
Special.
Special. Did this house have special meaning to you?
Can you see us right now?
Did you?
Girls?
girls. There's a lot of girls.
There is a lot of girls here.
You can see the girls. We're not all girls. He's
Oh my gosh.
hold hands.
Old man.
Are you serious?
I'm not old.
Hold
Oh,
hands.
hold hands.
Really?
I got the phone.
Hands, y'all.
That's kind of embarrassing. Why do you want us to hold hands?
Appreciate.
Do you want us to appreciate one another?
Oh, because he was lonely.
Sure.
Hold on to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want us to hold on to each other forever?
You can.
You can.
We try.
Did you paint that room black? Did you paint that room black across the hall?
Art.
Art.
Were you an artist?
Holy crap.
Was that a dark room for photos?
Did you like to paint?
Of course.
Did you paint often?
Every day.
Oh my gosh. She can't hear crazy. You literally cannot hear. You can't hear. No, I couldn't hear anything.
Did your family paint with you?
My wife.
Oh my gosh. You and your wife painted together?
No.
Did you paint paintings of your wife?
My wife.
Did you love your wife?
You bet.
Oh my gosh. This is so sad.
Did you paint pictures of your wife?
No.
Did she paint pictures of you?
Daughter.
You painted pictures of your daughter?
So after we did the Estes sessions, we kind of looked around a little bit more and then left. And I remember the next day, Jill sending us the obituaries from the two people. Did you see those, Cosette? Did I send them to you?
Yeah, it gave me chills. I read it the next morning. This is the first investigation I went on where I didn't think you guys were crazy.
Well, that's good.
What?
She finally.
That's the first one I went and I was like, oh, I think that one was real.
Same.
So then the next day when my mom sent me the obituaries, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, that was real.
Why did that make it real?
Because a lot of the stuff that we got,
It all added up.
it all added up. The names, the dates, what they did for a living, their hobbies.
You got some of that in the investigation?
Yeah.
Some of those answers that were in the obituaries.
Yep.
When we were doing the spirit box, like we'd ask questions and we asked him like about if he about the mechanics, and he said he liked cars and art. And if you look at we'll have to read the obituaries, but I remember it saying he, in his spare time, he liked to fix up cars, and he was
a good painter.
He was a good painter or something like that.
That's how we found the one photo, because the one photo, there was a ton of prints of the one painting.
That might be the photo that he is hanging in one of the art galleries. Maybe. He has one hanging in an art gallery, so maybe that's the one. But that's what the obituary talked about.
The mom and dad lived on and operated a dairy farm for 40 years, which I assume is where this house was, because there's like so much property.
Yeah, there was a ton.
And it looked like there was a barn or something back there that had collapsed.
Oh, yeah, the barn to the side.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a barn.
It says that she ran on the Democratic ticket for county commission, pretty active in her community. She was a 4-H leader, PTA president. She served as a board member and president of the mental health organization, and she was instrumental in acquiring comprehensive mental health services in the Tri-County area. And it also says that she was a champion for suicide awareness. And back then, people didn't talk about those things. So she was really passionate about that, which answers how we found all those mental health brochures. She lived for 3 decades with a lemon-sized tumor in her brain, and she just didn't give up. She cooked a lot, and I do remember the cannings.
Yeah. Not only like was she sick, but do you remember? Didn't we get that she suffered? Her husband, when we were doing that spirit box session, that somebody had suffered and died.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's probably what he was talking about. But yeah, we did find all the canning too.
Yeah, the canning.
There was tons. That whole pantry was full of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where we found the safe that was buried.
It says that she, in lieu of flowers, it meant more to her to make donations to the Perpetual Education Fund or humanitarian services, or any kind of suicide prevention donations. So she was, and then let's see, so he operated the dairy farm. Farming was his career and his most cherished passion. He loved to mess with things like farm equipment and his cars and home improvement. Let's see, so he was well known for his artistic abilities. He loved working in oils and painted many pictures. He entered many art competitions, and he placed in each of the shows. That just gave me chills again.
Yeah.
But they seemed like very kind, like the spirits that were speaking to us were like very gentle, and they just seemed like good folks. So not scary at all. It didn't feel like they were trying to drive us out of their house.
Like they were trying to answer our questions. Like they were talking to somebody maybe.
They're probably just happy that we weren't destroying their property.
I was going to say we were probably the first people that went in that didn't destroy everything.
Next, we would ask, "Are you a dad?" And he said yes. And Ty said, "Are you a good dad?" And he said, "The best."
Yeah,
he loved his family.
Yeah. So it was.
He loved his wife too, because when we said something about suffering or was she sick or mental health, and
she, if I remember right from her obituary, she was legally blind for 20 years or something. And she had cancer like 4 times.
3 times.
Oh, 3 times?
Yeah, that's right.
I think she broke her back several times. She broke her hip.
And her leg.
And her leg. So she had a lot of health issues, but still remained quite active in the community and taking care of her family, from what it sounded like.
She cared for other people more than she cared for herself.
Yeah, it's so that suffering comment made sense after reading the obituary.
And in her kitchen, do you guys remember, like, she had like the little homemade curtains on the windows, and it looked like she just really took pride in her home and made it homey and tried to make it all cute and decorative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what What takeaway do you guys have from this investigation? Like, is there anything that you really enjoyed? Anything that we should have tried differently? Anything like that?
I feel like we should have done one in the
Yeah.
garage. That's where a lot of the stuff was.
Yeah.
I think we should have done more in the other rooms too, just to see.
Yeah. Just see what more we could get.
Yeah,
So
maybe the dad was staying in the second room because that's where he was painting all his stuff.
I definitely got a feeling from that. I left getting this impression that they were talking to us and they were good spirits, but I kind of felt like they thought we shouldn't keep doing those kind of like trying to speak to spirits because we weren't going to get good ones every time like them. I like when they called us silly girls, I really felt like they were saying, you know, you need to be careful with this kind of thing. I just remembered that sticking with me. Like,
and I didn't listen.
I didn't either.
But we are silly for wanting to do that. That's a silly hobby to have, I guess.
I think he was warning us that we're not all nice. They aren't all nice spirits.
That's exactly, yeah. That's what I thought too, because they were very kind to us, and
It's kind of like he was saying, be careful.
mm-hmm.
I didn't even think of that, so that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
Well, I remember the first time we went in, the EMF reader was going off all over the place. And there was no electricity or anything.
And stuff?
Well, none of the electricity worked.
Inactive, yeah.
That's
So I don't think so. But the second time we went back, nothing on our EMF at all. No hits at all.
Did I have my thermal imager?
I believe
No.
so. No?
No.
I don't think you
I
did.
don't think you did.
But I do remember trying to do one spirit box session. It might have been in the garage, and we didn't get anything. So my thought maybe was they told their story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had been sticking around. Obviously, it was a home that they enjoyed being at. They stuck around. They told their story to us, and maybe everything was good with their lives, and they moved on. I don't know.
I did get a picture of an orb in one of those rooms, and it wasn't dust. I'll get it and send it to you, because I've looked at it a lot, and it was just like this little orb that like just floated over. I think it was downstairs in one of the rooms, and then and so I kind of thought, when I saw that, I thought these are probably benign spirits, like it wasn't anything dark. But
You remember if the orb was a certain color?
no, it was white-ish.
Okay, just wondering.
Are they sometimes different colors?
The only time I've ever seen different colors was at the Marshall house. And I saw green and red. And I think Taylan or Mike saw blue.
What was the Marshall house?
Yeah.
Oh, what you help those people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
But after I was like, wow, I have never seen that before. Like, I usually don't even pay attention to orbs, but it was like this glowing green ball that just kind of floated around the room. And I was like, wow, I've never seen green before.
Aunt Tara she'll look at you. She's like, you're purple.
She can see auras and stuff. That's cool.
She'll tell you what they mean.
That is cool.
Was that green orb behind me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it wasn't you farting. I'm pretty sure. That would have been more of like a gassy like substance.
That would have accounted for the green.
No, but afterwards I went back and looked at what the different colors meant, and it was pretty cool. Like they had mostly good activity in their home. It was people that
I think these were good people. They didn't have a lot of drama in their life. I think they were very prepared food-wise. I think they spent their money wisely.
Mm-hmm.
I think they hoarded their money, to be honest. They were worried about people breaking in there. And I have never seen a homemade alarm system like that. They even had little buttons everywhere for the fire, to detect fire. I mean, everywhere in the house.
Yeah.
And it all led to that one room. It almost looked like a panic room, but
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a lot of money squirreled away too for tougher times. I think they were down to earth, good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they donated a lot of money, so I bet people in the valley knew they had a lot of money.
True.
Somebody was looking for money in that place.
because they said that she donated to all these charities for suicide and mental health. So I don't know if she was always.
Makes me wonder if somebody in the family had a mental health problem, and that's why they were so focused on it. I wonder.
Very, very possible.
One of the kids, or something.
Yeah. Or maybe even the wife. I don't know.
Or maybe one of them tried. And the
Maybe.
mom was trying to reach out. I don't know. To
Yeah.
other moms, other people.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was definitely the best Estes session we've ever done, in my opinion. And it was really fun to be able to go into the house not knowing anything and get the answers that we did and being able to
Also,
verify them afterwards.
If you read at the end of his life, he got Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's right.
So I've heard people with Alzheimer's go back to where they spent most of where they actually remember their life being. So it looks like they died in a different town than that house, but that's where their life was. And so that's exactly where he would remember to go back.
You're correct. Yeah,
And I work with Alzheimer's people, and they remember their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They remember their lives when they were younger. And so he probably just goes there, and that's
Probably his happy place.
Yeah, his happy place where they like to be where they spend most of their time. They like to talk about what they used to do and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. When I saw he had Alzheimer's, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And maybe that's another reason, mental health.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Whenever I work with the old people with Alzheimer's, they tell me about the good old days back when they lived somewhere else, not here.
Yeah.
Before they were at the nursing home.
Before Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destination Mystery is a production of Mystery Media Group. You can find our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Before we go, we want to play a trailer from our good friends at Bigfoot and the Citizen Scientist podcast.
911, what are you reporting? I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog. My dog went flying through the air over the tree, and I don't know how it did it. He's all black, and he's big. He is big.
Yeti, Almas, Yeren, Yowie, Mapping Quarry, Orang Pendek, Buckwas. All names found throughout different areas all around the world, all of them having one thing in common: Sasquatch. Join us as we dive into a citizen scientist journey into the worldwide phenomenon known as Bigfoot. Here, we will listen to interviews, get opinions from the people that stand out in the subject field, and try to gather as much scientific data as we can, only on Bigfoot and the Citizen Scientist podcast.
If you enjoy our show, please like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. We will be introducing other Mystery Media Group guests in our upcoming episodes, along with weekly bonus material. If you'd like to see more pictures and evidence from our adventures, visit www.destination-mystery.com. You'll find a link to our blog, as well as a link for merch and contact information. Until next time, find your own destination.
Solve the mystery.
This is a production of Mystery Media Group.
Yay!